Hey everyone, welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a really great guest on today. He's a partner and creative director at KD1 Design Agency, co-founder of More Than Metrics and Smaply, designer and editor of This is Service Design Doing and This is Service Design Thinking. Please join me in welcoming Jakob Schneider. Welcome.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Absolutely.
Great. Question one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
You already gave a nice introduction, but if you ask me out of the blue, I would always say I'm a designer. More precisely, I'm a creative director with a strong focus on technology. So my daily work goes around corporate communication, visual communication, and especially designing and conceptualizing platforms with my clients.
Great. And just a note for the audience, if you guys are interested in the big 2025 episodes, please check out our episode with Karim Rashid. Question two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
I think that's especially the connection or combination of competencies in visual design and technology, which is still not the standard coming from design education. I was always very interested in technology. Maybe I could have become an engineer as well, but then I became a designer. And this is what helps me in my daily work and also keeps me interested in building things.
Great. And so question three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
Because I'm really deeply interested in building stuff. I think that's really the thing. Also, if I look at my childhood, I was always having projects and building something, creating something, building a club with friends, bringing out a tech magazine at school, and stuff like that. And I always had my projects, and I was lucky enough to make this my profession.
Great. And some people struggle with number four. And the question is, what does your future look like?
Yeah, I understand that totally because who can tell? But I think I will continue building things visually and technically, and I will continue exploring what's possible in that realm. But also, to be honest, I would like to pass on some of my knowledge. So, in the past, I've worked with students again and again and again, gave talks and keynotes. And I must say that this is always very, very satisfying. And I also have the feeling that it works pretty well. It's really inspiring for me to see other people starting from the knowledge point that I provide to them. This is really satisfying for me. So this is some glimpse into my future, a combination of still doing things, but also helping others doing things.
Great. And five, we say, is unique to this show. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
Yeah, I have a strong feeling about that. Actually, I am a pretty local person as of today, I would say. Back in the last 10 years, I've been busy traveling a lot more around the globe, attending conferences, also working with clients abroad, also in the US, for example, which is pretty far if you live in Germany, in Cologne, Germany. But pretty recently, I'd say the last 5 years, my work and also my daily routines have become more local and I enjoy it a lot. So I live in Cologne, Germany, which is a big city, and where I can find some of my beloved clients right over here. And I really must say, one of the most satisfying things is to drive over to a meeting by bike. This happens rarely, of course, but I like it very much. This is the one aspect of it. The other aspect is we have a really nice studio here downtown Cologne, like 400 square meters, and an old factory plant where I work with my team. We are 12 people at the moment, and I consider this a very, very important building block of our success and also of our daily work and how we work together. So, especially all that work from home policies and so on. I personally do not do that very often. I come here to the office very most of the time because I need to separate this from my private life. And I do love it when many people are here and there's some buzz in the room, and you just go over to another desk and say, "Could you have a look at this one or this one?" And really short forms and clear forms of collaborations occur rather than picking up time in the calendar and making a video call and blah blah blah. So I really like to be at a place.
Great. 6, you're starting from the beginning. What advice do you give your former younger self?
Don't start your own business too early. Give yourself 3 or 5 more years in different companies. Pretty straightforward. I was lucky enough to become a creative director and partner like managing partner of the agency by the age of 28. Before that, I've been, for example, at Meta Design in Berlin, one of the largest design agencies in Germany. And I understand how important this period in my life has been, like where I could see how others are organizing design work, because this is the hard part, I think, right? Being creative and coming up with ideas and working with visuals is one thing that you can train on. Of course, maybe it has to be your thing, but you can train on that. But like how you really run a design business, that's a totally different story. And I wish I had looked into more other companies from the inside. Because once you are a managing partner, that's much more difficult to go to a company and say, hey, come on, let me just have a look at your processes and how your team works and so on. That would definitely be an advice. But also, it's tied to your specific age, right? As I said, when you're 28, of course, you have easily 5 more years to look around and mess around and play around. Later in life, of course, at some point, you have to you have to start your own thing, or you have to keep going.
Great. And what's a day in your life like?
Pretty straightforward, actually. As I said, I love going by bike, which is possible in my city in Cologne, and I start early. Start with my son, bring him to school, and right after that, I continue to ride to my agency pretty early in the morning, like 8:30. I'm at my desk, checking some social media for 30 minutes maximum, and then directly deep into work, which is a mixture of deep work, which I say I still manage to do 60 to 70% of the day. And of course, the rest of the day is filled with talks and meetings, as you can imagine. And this is really my work with my clients, prepare, of course, talks or other events and prepare my slides for that or new concepts. But actually, it's a pretty straightforward work day, I'd say, and I need that for my personal structure. I need this structure to have things pretty clear, to be free within these borders. This is my typical day in my life.
Great. And 8 is about lifelong learning. It's a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. It's indeed social media. Twitter has been a great source of inspiration, especially at the intersection of technology and design, because there's just some people call it design Twitter. I don't know if they still call it today like that. And for obvious reasons, I'm not so much on Twitter anymore, on X. But sometimes I have a sneak peek into that old realms of design Twitter and see what they're talking about, like design system, design system revolution part 72, or AI automation of design, which doesn't work. But if it will work someday, I will see it there first. And of course, just talking and working with my fellow designers, because I'm lucky enough to work with some really creative and inspiring persons. And I think it's several times in the week where we share things with each other that we talk about and show it to each other, like what someone has created here and there. And always it's a mixture of visual design and always technology, like designing systems, for example. This is really very, very interesting to me. Yeah, to be honest, it's mainly social media and say 3 to 4 events in a year where I meet other designers or creatives.
Great. So 9 is about tools. Do you use both digital and analog tools?
Absolutely. For example, um, my to-do list is an A4 sheet, which sounds simple, but I have to say, over 70 tools and looking at Smaply. And for me personally, I do need this haptic experience with writing it down. It really clears my mind. It helps me to structure my day. And it's always with black ink and a pink marker. And the funny thing is that the pink marker marks the things that I've already done, which is super satisfying. And as I said, sometimes it's really strange because I sometimes I have to take a photo of my paper to-do list and take it home or to the weekend. But this works exceptionally good for me. Also, as you can imagine, my desk and the room around me is full of post-its, sticky notes, where I capture quick ideas, of course, to-dos for the next time. So much for the analog world, or as I say, scribbling and early concepts and documentations during calls are also mainly analog over here, because I learned that when I take notes on my A4 page, I always instantly draw a kind of an infographic on this page, and this helps me a lot. Like when I want to recall the results from the meeting a week later or so. So much for the analog tools, and of course on the digital side, as you can imagine, everything. For example, if I look at my doc right now, I do have the Creative Cloud open, like InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, which is not for every day. Of course, we work with Figma. Sometimes we even work with the experience designer from Adobe, sometimes After Effects, sometimes Adobe Audition. Sometimes it's always a Sublime Text when creating things that are designed but written in code. I think that's really mainly the things we work with. And when it comes to digital platforms, of course, I work with Smaply. It's a great software, by the way, when it comes to mapping out customer journey maps pretty quickly and easily, and especially when it comes to maintaining them over a longer time, which is not something that we do in every project for sure, but if we do it, we use Smaply. We work with Miro. I think this is interesting for some people, right? I always know this question. It's a no-brainer that we work with a whiteboard tool, but we use Miro, um, for example. And I think one of the most revolutionary tools that we started working with is Webflow. Indeed, we started with it 7 years ago already, so we're really pro users here on my team. And I cannot emphasize enough how much this tool changed the way we work, like in terms of creating digital products, and especially when it comes to creating and designing for digital systems, because other than most other tools, it allows you to work with real data, maybe even start with data modeling before designing the first pixel, and then like really design for this content. For example, you have, say, something very simple like 10 content articles with 10 totally different headlines, and you want to create a design for this for this content. And of course, your headline design should work for short headlines and very long headlines. And right in the tool, you can check this out with real headlines. So the days of lorem ipsum are pretty much gone in many cases. And there's so much more that we can then do and create right in Webflow. And I'm not affiliated with the company by any means. This really changed the way we work. And I think we have it open every day.
Great.
Yeah.
So halfway number 10, how do you deal with work life or life work balance?
Yeah, I think that's an ongoing story of everyone's life, right? I have to say that becoming a father changed a lot because it makes, especially for me, it made it much more easy to prioritize. And I think the trick that I'm trying to do, and that's the right way or the functioning way for a person like me, a character like me, is working with very, very, very strict guardrails. So I have my work time, and if it's over, like 6 in the evening, it's not that sharp, of course, then I won't continue working because I need rest. I once read this interesting saying where they said there's rarely overworking, but oftenly under resting. And
Mm.
I think this is also true for me. And creating these external guardrails for myself, so with pretty strict working hours, helps me a lot. Also, I don't have my professional emails on my smartphone. That's also a pretty crazy trick that many people really don't understand or find it fascinating that I managed to do this. But the thing is, when working with clients and organizations I work with, in 99% of the cases, if they would catch me on my phone off guard via email or by phone, and I'm at the supermarket shopping groceries, I cannot really help them at that moment. I need the project data in front of me. I need the things that are on my local machine. And this is also just my work style. And for me, this really works very, very well um, to have these guardrails. And I can only suggest maybe referring to if younger people ask for advice, I would say try to create a system like this that works for you. And it can be totally different for each and every person. Some people love to open the laptop at 10 in the evening again. That's not for me.
Great. And if you weren't doing what you do now, what might you be doing?
I asked this myself so many times. As I said, maybe I could have become an engineer because I like building and creating things. As a kid, I always said I want to be an inventor. And a little bit, I became an inventor, but not like from the inventor from Donald Duck, but in a different way. But there are many other things. I'm also very interested in medicine, for example. I love these super complicated and long words. I'm very, very interested in that topic. But I think now with 41, it's too late to study medicine again.
Hmm. And what
And
would
I always could have imagined to become a teacher as well, like a
hmm.
simple teacher,
Hmm.
because I like the job.
Great. And what would you not like to do with your career?
Pure finance.
Hmm.
I think this is, which is sometimes I'm struggling with that with this decision and opinion because as I grow up, I understand that the finance people are the ones that get all the money from organizing the other people creating things. But after all, and don't get me wrong, I'm working a lot with finance, especially for my own companies. And I also tend to think that this is also a thing that's a bit special to me, that I'm very interested in that, like being a creative, a technologist, and also I have a strong wish to have the financials running in a positive way because otherwise I would feel burned out too. Um, but I could not live with the idea of only organizing work and not creating things. I hope I don't, this is not insulting for the finance people. I have deep respect for the work of them, especially for some of the partners I worked with. I totally know what I do and I appreciate it, but I think for me, this wouldn't be satisfying.
Hmm. Great. And do you have a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
When when people ask me to sign the book, This is Service Design Doing, I always wrote in it, don't believe the hype.
Hmm. And do you have a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Crunch mode.
Hmm.
Like or all these pseudo motivational things like embrace complexity, change is the new normal, and so on. I mean, they are all right, are all correct, but there is some that it is too much about pure performance, I think. And I love performance and I love to perform, but I don't like to talk about it too much.
Great. And you're choosing one word to describe yourself. What word do you choose?
Interested.
Hmm. What keeps you up at night?
To be honest, either something about the family, like how will everything evolve? Will my kid have a good time on this planet? And the other thing sometimes is financials, right? Because I'm running a smaller team, and sometimes things are running really, really great and beautiful. And sometimes you have questions or think about the future. I think this is really what keeps me up at night, to be very honest.
Great. And final stretch here. What's a dream you're chasing?
I hope I'm allowed to be completely unromantic here, but it is financial independence.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're nodding. I think I assume you're nodding, but the reason is I would love to have even more creative freedom and like really pick only, as you can imagine, one project that I really, really, really would love to do, and also to invest more time, right? Because
Hmm.
times are getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And sometimes we love that. And we love to perform and show our clients or partners how fast and quick we can deliver good results. But sometimes I would so love to rest a little bit more, think a bit longer about things. And yeah, to be super honest, it's a boring and grown up uh, position. But yeah, I think financial independence would help with that. And I'm not talking about owning a yacht, right? Just paying for a simple life, which works pretty good at the moment, but you know what I mean.
Hmm.
It doesn't work automatically for the next 30 years.
Hmm. Great. And 18, what inspires you?
Talking to people,
Hmm.
that's really pretty straightforward. And they don't have to be creative people, like
Hmm.
every people. It's always interesting what their perspective on the world is, how they perceive things, how they perceive things that I create sometimes, but also totally different things. For example, talking with teachers is extremely interesting, like how they create the learning experiences in their classes and how much this resembles in how we design workshops and how professional they are at that act in their space actually and how good that works. I find this very inspiring.
Great. And last couple here. Number 19, any advice you'd like to share?
Don't believe the hype again.
Hmm.
Try to stay cool and find your own way, but not in a completely isolated space, right? Because I mean it's sometimes a bit of a silly saying, like in rap music, I heard as a teenager, go your own way and only do what you like and blah blah blah. The word is not as easy as that, but as I said, don't believe the hype, especially not nowadays where we have so many information channels and where the language that we're all using is so much more based on superlatives, the maximum, you're missing out, you have to do this. If you don't do this, then you're lost and stuff like that. I think this is really unhealthy for all of us. And I think it really helps to stay away from too much information overflow or too much noise from time to time. I'm
Hmm.
not very good at that, by the way, but this would be me advice, would be my advice to me and others. Try to be a bit calmer and take out the hyperspeed at least.
Great. And finally, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you and what's our call to action?
Um, Maybe just my LinkedIn profile at the moment.
Great.
And if you want to have a look at what we're creating at KD1, for example, it's of course kd1.com, where we have some beautiful projects and some beautiful to come in the next weeks and months. But as I'm not only working for KD1 and trying to have my eyes open in many directions, I think the LinkedIn profile for at the moment is the most efficient way to keep an eye.
Great.
Do you want me to have a call to action at the end, like an advertisement for me at the end, or what do you mean with a call to action?
Yeah, what direction should we go in from here?
Um, I'm sorry, I don't really get it. Like for the listeners,
Yeah, for the listeners, do you have an idea of how we should approach our next steps of our lives?
we all, yeah, right. Again, keep calm, understand what you are able to do and how you can help organizations and teams with that to create value. I know this sounds extremely business-like, but we cannot design without creating value in 99% of the times. And I think it is very important to understand that to thrive in our industry or in our profession. Because I do want our profession to thrive and live on for the next 30 years and not be completely replaced by AI agents, which I don't think will happen.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining today. It's such a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Thomas.